All right. Well, hello everyone. We'll let everyone trickle in here over the lunch hour, but some intros. My name's Nate Jones. I will be your host today for our discussion about using GPT AI to get a 31% qualification rate or qualified lead answer rate for your home improvement business. So I want to let everyone trickle in for just a little bit. Some housekeeping. We will try and do Q&A at the end of the webinar here. So please use the questions and answers tab here in Zoom. If you want to shoot a question to me, I'll either answer it live or at the end. If you do want to chat in to just chat with me or chat with others here, you can do that as well. But we'll just get things rolling. So today, we're here to talk about how your home improvement business can get a 31% qualified lead answer rate with GPT AI. Again, my name is Nate Jones. I am the co-founder of Structurally. We're an AI company who helps qualify leads. But I really want to make this a pretty educational webinar. I know AI is like on probably everyone's minds. I don't know. I know a lot of you are coming from the qualified remodeler world. Some of you were probably at the top 500 last week. I wasn't there, but I would imagine someone was probably talking about AI in some way, shape, or another. If you have heard of anything, or if there was discussions about AI, could you like post in the chat of like where you really would want me to go with that? That'd be great. Just throw that in the chat. If you have any specific questions that you really want me to answer, you can put that in QA. But we were here to talk about AI today, and AI is eating the world. But let's break it down and talk about how it can be used for home improvement. So I always like to kind of start this by shaping or outlining the ways or the different types of AI. There's a lot of hype around AI, just to be completely honest. These three things are not the full suite. Like there's a bunch of different types of AI that I didn't even include here, but at the highest level, we have generative AI, conversational AI, and some combination of them. There's also things like computer vision, where the AI can see or generate images, but kind of lumping them into these three categories right now. So we have generative AI that can, say, write a blog post for me. Conversational AI is something like, I saw you inquired on our website, how can I help? So that AI is actually having the conversation. A combination of those might be something like, why don't you summarize the call transcript for me and actually do the follow-up? So like super high level, that's where we're at. And I like to show this too, because the breadth and the width and just the sheer volume of AI use cases and tasks that we've seen today is just like unbelievable. This is a fancy graph showing how big these models that we've all probably heard of, like ChatGPT and Google Bard and otherwise, have gotten. Basically, every year, these models increase by 10 times. So this cuts off in 2021. Like the models are even bigger. GPT-4 is at 2 trillion parameters. So basically, the point of this slide is AI has become increasingly massive, and it can probably do a variety of tasks that you like never believed it could do before. That's just because these models are getting so big. But taking a step back or drilling down a little bit, I wanted to identify a few use cases, just a few, for home improvement AI use cases. So on the far left here, really high level, really easy. A lot of you have probably heard of Jasper AI. If you've heard of them, drop a note in the chat and say, yeah, I've heard of them. Or maybe if you're using them, let me know if you're using them. They're pretty big. They're really basic. It's write a blog post for me, write an email for me, write some form of marketing content for me. If you're not using them, it's a really good way to kind of build out your SEO, your website, your marketing emails. It's a pretty easy way to get started, I would say, with generative AI. Another one in the middle here is Invoca. If you're using them, let me know. Just another kind of conversational AI intelligence product. So this is a software that listens to your calls. It can help you identify like what your reps are saying or not saying, and how they're handling like objections, and just like how your reps are performing, basically. This is a really strong use case, I think, for home improvement folks who have a lot of reps, a lot of call center people. It's a really good use case because you want to know what they're saying. And that's really hard when you have this black box of like calls, like what was said on a call, what was said on 100,000 calls. This is the type of product that can analyze those. So that's a really good one in the conversational intelligence space. And then structurally, just so you know what we do text calls and set appointments for you over text message conversational AI right now. So just like the full suite of some of these things that you can start to add to your home improvement business today. But what I really wanted to dive into today, hopefully over a little lunch and learn hour, is taking a look at a real home service company, WinChoice, in how they're using AI and kind of like unpacking their workflow. So I know a lot of the qualified remodeler folks here are kind of sharing best tips and tricks and what's making their home improvement business successful. WinChoice is a customer of ours, and they've been really successful with AI. So I wanted to kind of unpack what they were doing. They have been using Structurally and other AI services to actually add $5 million in closed won deals, using texting AI to convert leads to appointments. So I wanted to show you kind of like their whole workflow, basically start to finish, like how they're getting leads, how they're texting, how they're calling, and how they're using AI. So high level, WinChoice, window company, if that wasn't clear, is getting new leads to come in to their website or to their CRM, HubSpot, from a variety of places. And Heidi, if you don't mind, if you want to run that first poll for our audience here of what CRM you're using. I'm really curious because AI and CRM go hand in hand. So I'm really curious what everyone here is using for their CRM. In this case, so if you want to answer that poll, let me know. In this case, WinChoice is using HubSpot. Really good choice. We have an integration with HubSpot. We have an integration with Salesforce, but they use HubSpot. So I want to walk through that. So they're getting leads from a variety of places. Their website, they're going to a form like this, Modernize, which I'm sure a lot of you are familiar with, Quinn Street, Facebook, their own PPC, things like that. Leads are just coming in. If you want to answer that poll, we'll close that up here shortly. But continuing through this, go right. Okay, so leads are coming into their HubSpot in this case. They're routed through DMAs. So these are their local geographic locations where they service. And they service about 6 states in the South, I think. Something like Georgia, Florida, Texas, the southern 6 states. But a bunch of different local geographies in those areas. So zip codes, basically. Think of DMAs as zip codes, if you're not familiar with those. So basically, they get leads coming in from a variety of sources that need to be routed to a specific DMA for a number of different reasons. This is actually a really complicated step. This isn't like AI by any means, although you could definitely use it, but I felt like this was really important to get the idea for everyone here of like what a really big call center with a lot of lead volume that covers a lot of geographies, like puts all of these pieces together. So basically up top, this complicated HubSpot workflow is basically saying if a lead comes in with a certain zip code, route them to a certain DMA. So that's what that top line of like the greens are. Just to answer Tom's question, I don't exactly know what DMA stands for. I forgot. I should have looked that up. I think it's designated marketing area or something like that. Basically, your local geo, where you have coverage with a sales rep, essentially. So leads are getting routed to those specific areas, basically. Yeah, designated market area. Thank you, Brian, for that. So then leads are getting routed there. The next step, I don't know if you guys can see my mouse, but the next step here is basically to assign the lead to an owner, contact owner, or an assigned rep. In their case, they actually have appointment setters, call center reps being the first point of contact that they're being assigned to. So that's what that second step is there. The third step is that the lead is being added to a power dialer. So you can use structurally, we have a power dialer. There's a million power dialers out there. I think they were using Kixie at the time. So basically, lead comes in, gets routed, gets assigned, gets added to a power dialing list, and then kind of right in the middle of the screen, it actually gets a Calendly link set to a specific, that's set to a specific Calendly URL. So you can see there that if you follow this path, the lead is assigned to Atlanta. It's being assigned to a certain admin or contact center rep. It's being set a specific URL because they want they have something set up where Calendly links are being routed to specific reps. And that's really important because they want to be displaying or providing these leads with the correct Calendly link to get them scheduled with the right rep. And then this step here, we at the bottom, that's set contact property structurally tagged to window inquiry, that enrolls the lead into structurally AI texting. You can use any number of other texting or AI products, but like that, we have an integration with the workflow where this is pretty easy. So at the end of the day, lead comes in, gets routed, gets a Calendly appointment set, gets added to a dialer, and gets texted all automatically through this workflow. So it's pretty complicated. This is a huge, huge, huge workflow. Really impressive that they built this. But just looking at the results, looks like most of you here are using HubSpot and Salesforce. So this is probably good to talk about just this. I will close that off my screen, at least for now. Just diving into that specific Atlanta workflow a little bit closer. I already covered it, but basically when they get down that path, they're setting a specific Calendly appointment based on their DMA so that, a rep gets, the right rep gets booked with their Calendly. And then, like I said, this lead is enrolled into a specific AI texting script, in this case, using structurally automatically. And in this case, we're using the window inquiry script. So most AI texting works by like understanding the use case. You don't want to this isn't a script that's just like, hey, saw you inquired on our website. Are you looking for windows, roofing, siding, or gutters, right? This is a window company, so we want to ask the qualifying questions and follow up about windows. So we have a window inquiry script, and structurally alone has like 500 pre-built scripts from anything from gutters to windows to roofing to a combination of all three. In this case, we're just using the window inquiry script. So that's automatically enrolling the lead into texting, which is really important, and I'll get to that in a bit. Another important thing is local presence. When a lead comes in with a specific area code, this is actually a really good use case for AI. We have some AI in our product that looks at the lead's local area code and then uses a specific structurally phone number to text them from that same area code. So that's essentially all that's happening here, and that all happens automatically. So they have this huge list in structurally too that's like, if the area code is 470 or the location is Atlanta or Macon, use the structurally 470 area code phone number, just so we're calling and texting from the same local area code where the lead is coming in from. So that's all also happening automatically. And then finally, the text conversation is happening. So you can see, I tried to make it bigger. So follow the arrow and read it from left down over to the right. We started by saying, hey, this is Alex from WinChoice, custom window manufacturer. Are you just looking to replace your windows or just researching? They wanted to schedule an appointment right away. That doesn't always happen. And just also, if the lead wouldn't have responded, Structurally's window inquiry long-term drips would have followed up with them for 12 months. A whole year of follow-up is already queued up. But the lead responded right away, so we went right into a qualifying conversation. In this case, they wanted an appointment right away. They wanted time at Saturday. We tried to book that on Win Choice's specific, looks like Little Rock was where this lead was coming in from. And then we continued through a qualifying conversation. So this wasn't the full conversation. This was just a part of it. It was hard to fit all of the conversation onto a tiny screen. But this was a chunk of the conversation. And they've had like 35,000 conversations come through that were just like this. All really human-like, really conversational AI over texting. The whole goal here also is obviously to try and get the lead on the phone. So I've talked a lot about texting, but if you remember, I had said that Win Choices, one of their steps in their HubSpot workflow was to add them to a dialer. That's because their call center reps are dialing the leads that the AI is texting at the same time. And that's really, really, really important. If everyone has a takeaway from this, I want it to be that you should be calling and texting at the same time, but you should be doing it from the same phone number. That's really important. If you're texting from a 515 number and then they get a call from a 510 number for whatever reason, they're not going to answer because it might as well be a different company, might as well be a different person, it might as well be spam. But if you're texting from the same number, or if you're calling from the same number that you're texting from, and you have a conversation like this, the lead will be far more likely to answer because they know the number. They might have already saved the number in their phone, or they were expecting a call from that number. So you can use Structurally's dialer. That's just what I'm showing here. You can use any dialer under the sun, but it's really important to use the same phone number to call your leads from that you're texting. I would not recommend that you're using two different phone numbers at all. At least that's not what they did. That's not what a lot of our customers do. Try and use the same phone number to text and call the leads from. I think that's super important. The key, like why I'm so adamant about doing that, is because we have seen a 31% qualified lead call answer rate when they are texting, calling, and using AI from the same phone number. So when you're using the same phone number, we call this the text call AI technique. We're seeing a 57% response rate, engagement rate on just those texts alone. That's great. But then the whole point of our conversation, I didn't show you like the rest of that conversation on the earlier screens, but the whole point of at least our conversations is to try and get a lead to a live transfer. Like that's a really hot lead. That's great. There's nothing better than a qualified live transfer lead. They in Win Choice's case, they had call center reps answering those inbound calls that were from live transfers. So they were always answered and they were seeing like a 31% answer rate. And then the reason why we're here is to talk about using AI. You don't want your call center reps or your sales reps on the phone with unqualified leads. It's a waste of everyone's time. So let AI do the qualifying for you. It's great at it. It's good at following up. It's good at handling objections. And it honestly is usually a lot more relentless than a lot of humans. Like I said, our product alone sends 52 texts and emails over the course of 12 months. And even if a lead doesn't respond or ghosts us mid-conversation, we still follow up. So that's a really, really great use case for conversational AI, is that like it just doesn't give up. And it does so in a really intelligent way. So it's not just like, I'll just say like, it's not dumb drip messages. They're intelligent, they're personalized, they're relevant to where you're at in the conversation. And so when you put all this together, the text call AI technique, you're going to get about a 31% answer rate with qualified leads. At least that's what we were seeing with Win Choice, who all of that led them to $5 million in new closed won deals in just 3 months, influenced by AI, basically. So let's look at it again from kind of start to finish. A new lead comes in, the leads are routed and assigned to the right rep in the right DMA. Then they're using AI. I kind of designated all the areas where they're using AI in their funnel to automatically enroll leads into text message AI. The AI texts the lead from a local area code using local presence. The AI follows up with the lead over text for up to 12 months. And when they respond, there's a two-way qualifying conversation. And then the entire goal is that the AI sets an appointment with the lead over text. That appointment can be a live transfer, or it can be like an actual appointment on a calendar. And then the call center rep calls leads when the lead is qualified, again, using the same number that the AI was texting from. And then the deal moves to closed won or closed lost. And then the fun part is if the deal is closed lost, WinChoice actually had us re-engage those leads. So you could actually like start this whole funnel over. We call those, I'm sure a lot of you are familiar with like the term rehash or reconvert leads. It's another great use case to almost restart this entire funnel, which WinChoice was using us for. But a lot of those deals that were talking to AI ended up moving to closed won. So I wanted to maybe just do a quick pause here. If you have any questions, again, remember to shoot them into the Q&A. I wanted to just take a little break to answer a few that I've seen here. This is going to be recorded. This will be sent. I am seeing a message from Ariana. What do you say to prospects who say they are annoyed because of all the context? I think that's a really relevant question to think about with this funnel like this. At least in our case, and it can be scripted with a lot of these new large language models, these AI products, like they can be more aggressive or less aggressive. In our case, we're pretty aggressive, I would say, in our follow-up. But we're soft in our objection handling too. We basically say like if they're saying like, I'm so annoyed, like take me off my list, take me off the list. Obviously, we're opting them out. But if they're like, oh, like why are you texting me from all these numbers? Which again, hopefully you're trying to consolidate all your numbers into one place where you're texting and calling from, because we have seen customers leads say things like, I don't know who all these numbers are. Where are all these numbers coming from? I don't know. Take me off your list. Like, you don't want that to happen. But when that happens, our AI is like, I'm so sorry to hear that. Depending on specifically what the lead said, if they're like, I don't want to be contacted anymore, we'll say, I'm so sorry to hear that. We'll take you off our list. But if they're like, I don't know where'd you get my information? We actually say where we got their information. You'd been looking on our website. I wanted to follow up. By the way, were you just looking for a window replacement, or were you kind of serious about it? So soft, but it's hard to answer that question because it's super contextually relevant to whatever specifically the lead said. Yeah, looking at some of the other questions, what % of leads are converting from pay vendors like Modernize and Inbound? Very high percent. We have seen those inbound leads convert to appointments at about sometimes a 50% clip, way more than like our rehash or like Facebook leads. Those are obviously, rehash is kind of a different story, but like the super high level Facebook or pay-per-call leads, like maybe the Google like intent and pay-per-call leads have converted pretty well, because those are high intent. Someone searching for, I need my windows replaced in Atlanta. Those convert pretty high. But like, the super high level form fills, those convert to appointments at about a 2 to 10% rate. But those Modernize, those inbound, those like third party, those are the majority of what like WinChoice, I was showing here today. That was the majority of their leads, and those convert at the highest clip because they're hot. They fill out a form. They're ready to be contacted, and they are being contacted. They're ready to move. Going through some more questions. Can this work for small family-owned design, building, remodeling firms? It can work we have customers who are one man bands to large enterprises like WinChoice with 3 call centers across 6 states. It's based on lead volume today. I will say that we're probably considering changing our pricing. So if you see our pricing on our website now, we're going through some pretty drastic changes with that. So if you have questions, just let me know on those. But right now it's kind of based on lead volume that we're handling. And then to answer another question, am I understanding that you can capture the phone number and start texting without the lead telling you their info as the workflow started when the lead fills out a form? Most of our customers are using us for form fill leads. So when a lead fills out a form on Modernize, Facebook, whatever, we already have their phone and email, and we text and email them. But we do have a lot of users who put their structurally phone number on like a direct mailer, and then the lead texts that number in. So then obviously we have the lead's phone number because they text it in. Then it's a different script. So this is where the AI piece gets really important, because we want to have informative where some of the context of where that lead came in from. Was it a form fill lead? Was it a Facebook lead? Was it a direct mail lead? Was it an inbound call? We can handle those leads as well. That is really where AI shines, because like I said, we have a library of like 500 of these scripts, ranging from direct mailers to form fills. But again, the majority of our users are using us for those form fill leads. With the 5 million sales went through your system, what percent of their business is that 5 million? I actually have no idea, but that 5 million was all the leads. I think it was like 300 or 400 total closed won deals projects. Those were all leads that were originally texted by Structurally. So if anyone wants to do the conversion rate, I think at the time that we were doing that, we had ingested like 30,000 leads, and then about 300 turned into deals. So that would be a typical conversion rate for using texting AI. I obviously, like, a lot more of their deals probably closed out of those 30,000 leads, but that's where they were calling. They were probably using their call center reps to get those leads converted too. So it wasn't just a either or, text or call. It was an and. They were calling while we were texting, and that's a great combination. Few other questions. How does this work with 10 DLC? Is that a concern? Big concern, but we handle it for you. We are really, really well versed in the A2P 10 DLC compliance. We have 2 vendors that we work with, and we get you up and running on day 1 with compliance, and get you over the hump with that compliance concern. And we've unfortunately become experts at it, I would say, at this point. If you have any more questions, I will continue on, because I really want to get to this part. I think everyone will be may have more questions, but if you have any more questions, feel free to answer them or put them in Q&A or chat, whatever it's easiest for you, and I'll hit them again at the end of this. But I wanted to touch on one thing since we've been talking about calling. Well, you can see here we have five parts of their funnel where they are using AI. But this last step down here, call center reps calls the lead when the lead is qualified. What are they doing about it? So I've talked about how the importance of texting and calling together works really well. That is important. You can see here that with like WinChoice, they're making about 200,000 dials a month. That's both inbound and outbound, and that's all manual. So a whole lot of phone calls go out with a business like this. They're vital. Everyone here is probably shaking their head that you absolutely have to have phone calls to run your business. But what if phone calls could be made by AI? And I know everyone's probably heard parts and pieces of conversational AI that sounds like too good to be true and snake oil, and like there's no way conversational AI could have a live phone call. Like texting is one thing, but calling is another, to actually mimic a human-like conversation. But it's extremely important. A business like WinChoice is making 200,000 calls a month. They have a huge staff to man these calls. It's important to probably everyone here to have something in place to answer inbound calls and make outbound calls or do live transfers like our product queues up. Well, Structurally is working on something like this, and it's in super early beta. And I wanted to give you guys an early listen to if you believe that this is human-like. So I'm going to play this. I'm going to try and make sure that you guys can hear it. You may need to turn your volume up a little. We were testing this out before this, and it turned out to be a little quiet. So I'm going to play this. It's about 3 minutes, but I might cut it off at the end just so we can keep things moving. But I'm going to play this real conversation between a lead in the home service space. I can't remember which exactly script they're in, but the AI, the person that you hear asking the questions and qualifying, is an actual AI. So take a listen. And let me know if you cannot hear that.
Hi, this is Alex from Superior Siding Services. May I speak with Sarah, please?
Yeah, this is Sarah.
Great. Hey, Sarah. I just saw you filled out a form on our website about getting some siding replaced on your home. Were you just kind of looking around still, or were you wanting to get a project done here pretty soon?
Yeah, actually, I was just looking into getting the siding replaced before winter hits. You know, kind of feel like I just need to do it and don't have a whole lot of time now to get that done.
Absolutely. Yeah, for sure. You're crazy, isn't it? Winter is honestly sneaking up on us like so fast. Can't believe it's like almost already here. But yeah, for sure, we can absolutely get you helped out here quickly. So we usually schedule a home inspection to understand the scope of work and provide a more accurate estimate on the job for you. But first, could you tell me a bit about your current siding? Like the material and the condition it's in?
Oh yeah, my siding is white. Or wait, no, I think it actually might be messing up, if that's the thing. Right. It's been peeling in. There are spots where it's running. I guess it's been there for a good 20 years or so.
Yes, masonite is a type of siding. It's definitely an older one, that's for sure. It sounds like it's time for an upgrade. Were you looking to replace it with a similar material? Or were you thinking of something different?
Well, I was thinking of something more durable, maybe. I heard hardy plank is low maintenance.
Absolutely. Hardy plank is a solid choice. It's low maintenance and comes in a variety of styles and colors, and it's super solid. It's also more weather resistant. We can definitely explore that during the home inspection. By the way, is your home a 1 or 2 story?
It's a 2-story home.
Got it. And do you own the home just yourself, or is there another owner involved in making decisions like this?
Oh, my husband and I own the home together. He'd definitely want to be involved in the decision.
It'd be great if he could also be there for the inspection and quote if possible. I can set up an appointment for the inspection this coming Thursday or Friday, mornings or afternoons. Which works best for you?
Thursday afternoon should work. Yeah.
Perfect. I've got you down for a home inspection next Thursday at 2 p.m. Our inspector, Mark, will come by to assess the current siding and discuss options for the new siding. He'll be able to provide a rough estimate while he's out there with you, and a detailed quote will be sent out to you in 48 hours post-inspection. Does that sound good?
Yep, that sounds good. What do I need to prepare for this?
Just make sure that the areas around the exterior walls are clear for Mark. Have a good look. might need to take some measurements. So yeah, accessibility is going to be key. And if you or your husband have any questions or preferences, feel free to discuss them with Mark during the inspection, and he'll get you all squared away.
Okay, got it.
Awesome. Well, I appreciate the opportunity to chat about your new project, Sarah. We'll see you next Thursday.
Looking forward to it.
If you have any questions before then, feel free to give us a call. Have a great day.
You too.
Bye now.
Yeah.
All right. Hopefully you guys can hear me now, but what did you think? Heidi, if you could open that poll, I'm curious to know if you guys would be interested in using something like AI to answer or make your calls, using something like this. We'll let those come in because I do kind of want to share those results with everyone, because I was super curious when we were thinking of this. If you have any questions, I think I saw someone like raise their hand. If you do have questions on this or on anything that we've kind of gone through, please feel free to shoot them into the live Q&A or the webinar chat, because happy to answer. But you could hear from that conversation that it was pretty similar to the citing conversations that we have over text. You know, it's basic qualifying questions. What's the current issue with your citing? What type of citing do you want? Potentially, what's your budget? You know, when, and then when do you want a home inspection? So yeah, there's definitely lots of room for improvement. But what I've always kind of been blown away by with AI and where it's at today is the absolute human-like ness of the voices. That is an AI problem and an AI field of itself, to be able to synthesize voices, and that field has advanced really, really quickly. So I'm constantly blown away by how quickly those models have improved. But yeah, there's definitely tons of improvement. The lag aspect is the key here to having a human-like conversation. We hope to continue to solve that. It's a big problem to solve, but whoever is going to solve this well is going to solve that type of problem. But I also think that like the human, like we've hard coded stutters and ums and things like that, because that's just how people talk. It's how I talk. It's how everyone talks. It kind of helps have the same cadence and balance in the type of conversation. So I think it's pretty interesting. But you guys have said that 88%, let's see here, 88% of you would have used human-like AI to answer calls, and 12% would have not. So that's out of 26 of you that responded. I saw someone asked, how do we know you're not AI? I don't think I am, but you'll never know, I guess. So I'll keep going here. So the way this kind of works, it can handle a lot of different types of use cases: roofing calls, siding calls, HVAC. These are all kind of the same types of conversations that we've had over 10 million of over text. It's a similar conversational structure with a lot of different nuances, but it can kind of handle everything in between. Again, it can come in from an inbound form. It can come in from a form fill. You can do some combination of texting and calling. And a lot of people have been pretty happy with this. But obviously, like, we're in super, super early beta mode. That link, structurally.com/AI calling, will put you on a wait list if you want to get signed up. You know, there's really no obligation. Like, if you're interested in really staying on the cutting edge of technology, especially AI, put your name on that list. It won't hurt, because I think that one way or the other, AI calling will become a thing in the next year or sooner, like a mainstream thing. So I think the earlier you guys can get on board, the better we'll be able to figure this out together. Because obviously, like, this comes with a new set of risks and compliance and a whole bunch of different things that everyone will kind of have to take one step at a time. That the whole AI industry is still trying to continuously solve for. So kind of in a nutshell, to summarize everything, AI is eating the world. It can automate parts of your home improvement business that you may never thought were actually automatable, like calls, texts, and appointment setting. Win Choice was able to set or was able to create over $5 million in pipeline or in closed won deals using AI. So if you're hesitant of AI, if you're confused on how to get started, if you're just not sure what's available, because I get it, like it's an onslaught of AI right now. Everywhere you look, someone's got some AI tool. So how do you actually discern what's good or bad or worth your time or not worth your time? I would say in one way or the other, AI is worth your time investing in as a home improvement business. Like your goal is to create a really solid system that can scale with marketing and sales. Like, you should like that's the definition of AI. It can automate the things that otherwise humans would be doing, and it can do that in a really, really good way. So I think it would be worth exploring it, even if just in the smallest scale. If you want to start with Jasper to write blogs for you, if you want to use Invoca to analyze your calls, if you want to use us to text, if you want to potentially use us in the future for calling, like just get started in some way. I don't think it'll hurt. If you do want to kind of kick the tires with someone like us, you can talk with me or my team to do an AI audit. It's something that I've been actually pretty interested in, just helping teams. Like a lot of people come to us and say like, hey, where might be a spot that we can use AI? Just absolutely no pressure. I'll look through your workflow. A lot of you use Salesforce and HubSpot. That's the most familiar CRM. That's where I usually start to unpack, like, hey, let's look at your funnel. Let's look at your process like we did on today's call. Where are some areas where there may be just improvement in general, and where might some areas be that I would recommend AI? If you want a little audit like that, or just to talk to us, text AI to this number, 515-379-8557, and Andrew will follow up. That is not AI. That is my actual co-founder, Andrew, and he will answer your questions, because we wanted this to be a little bit more human about talking about your business, just like I did here today. And if you want to get on the wait list for the call AI, like you heard today, just go to structurally.com/AI calling. And you can invite your friends. For every one person you refer, you will get 100 free AI calls when it launches for you, and it'll move you up the wait list. So I feel like it's a kind of an easy thing to do. But otherwise, you can reach me. That is my actual phone number, not an AI's phone number. That is my actual phone number. If you have questions, shoot me a text or shoot me an email, nate@structurally.com. But otherwise, I'm happy to answer any Q&A questions right now, or chat questions, and then wrap it up here in just a few minutes. So if you have anything question-wise, shoot me a message. I will start with the Q&A from Lisa. What if your salesperson that is getting routed to has a new area? Can we add that to be routed right? So I think that was an earlier question about DMA routing. If they get added to a new area, the way that Win Choice handled that was, so in that workflow, we just set the DMA. If the lead came in from Atlanta, we set the DMA to Atlanta, so we could know and inform downstream things that this person's an Atlanta lead. And then we would set that Calendly link to be assigned to Atlanta sales reps. In Calendly, you can actually do round robin assignment, and that's how they handled it. So basically, if at least in Win Choice's workflow, what I would recommend most simply to do is to just add your reps to your Calendly or scheduling services round robin assignment. And if they don't have round robin, I know Calendly does, then you might have to consider your CRM for that type of round robin. Basically, it's like assigning it to a pool of reps in an area. And every time your rep adds a new area, just add them to that new pool. At least that's how they did it. How are you collecting and ensuring customer authorization to call and text from an automated dialer, TCPA? That's a good question. That is a huge part and underlying aspect of the A2P 10DLC laws. Basically, there was this huge wave with A2P 10DLC. If those of you who are familiar with that or not, it's basically like texting compliance. And it was a huge push this year. And you will not get approved through the campaign registry, is what it's called, TCR, to text your leads if your forms or the forms where you're buying leads from does not have a specific opt-in language. So basically, the push nationwide has been to say every form on every website everywhere has to have a button that says, by filling out this form, you consent to receiving contact. That is made, like, that is both a good and a bad thing. It's been painful for us because we've had to tell all of our customers, like WinChoice, to say, hey, go put this checkbox on your forms, otherwise you're not going to be able to text leads. So basically the entire world, it's kind of like what we went through with like the cookies banners. If you go to a website, you see the cookies. We're going through that same thing with forms. And it's been a big undertaking, but it's actually been really helpful for things like consent, because now you can actually track their consent. And we're integrating with some products like Jornaya to help us like track a specific token to actually validate and be audited for compliance. So hopefully that's a semi-technical answer, but covers the base. Like, we're doing the world of compliance has become really strict, and we're following every guideline throughout the entire journey to make sure that we're only texting and calling opted-in leads, and that it is in a verifiable, auditable way, because we've been audited for it before, as if most companies. Can we trust that lead aggregators are sending us leads that are opted in? I hope that my answer just then answered. They have, for the like Modernize, Quinn Street, they're all privy to the compliance regulations that I just said a second ago too. They have to put these forms or these checkboxes on their forms, otherwise those leads will never be able to be contacted, which defeats the purpose of their business, generating leads to convert into deals. So I can't necessarily speak for the lead aggregators, but we've done audits ourselves. We've been audited. We've looked through these leads. We've worked millions of these leads, and we have to show proof to carriers like T-Mobile and our infrastructure providers like Twilio and Telnex to say, look, this lead that we texted actually was opted in here, here, and here. And we've been audited in that sense. So for the majority of lead aggregators, they're following the rules, but I can't say for certain that there are not some that aren't following the rules. So just be careful. Ask those questions when you're buying leads from anyone. Are you working on anything like this for general contractors instead of a specific industry? We specialize in kitchen, bathroom, and basement finishings. Yeah, so if that wasn't clear, that script was just for that script on the call was just for siding. But we work with, like I said, we have a library of like 500 of these conversations, anything ranging from real estate to insurance to bathroom remodelers to electricians and plumbers. Like we cover the full gamut of anyone who gets leads in a more like business to consumer space. So we don't typically work with like B2B leads. So if you're like buying stuff from another business or selling stuff to another business, it doesn't usually work that great. We like businesses. We find the best businesses are people who have a lot of leads, who are just kind of churning and burning through them, trying to talk to as many as possible. All right, try and wrap it up. Just a few more questions. Let's see here. How do we address the risk of power dialing? Hopefully that was answered relatively with the compliance aspect. but obviously you have to be really careful about power dialing non-opted in lists, especially with something like AI. Like right now, that AI that I showed you, that we're not going to open that up for outbound dialing to cold lists. That's only going to be opened up for inbound leads with verifiable consent. Now, that's not to say that in the future, someone, maybe us, will be able to figure out how to dial outbound leads. It's just that's a really touchy subject. It's the rule I think you're alluding to around legally power dialing is a human being actually has to hit send on making a call. So there are ways to work around it. We're kind of avoiding it now. We do have our own power dialer, it's structurally, but you have to hit send. That's why it's so important as a human. All that's really important there is that a human hit send. Let's see here. What happens if a call is outside the range of a normal conversation? Like, hey, did you see the Yankees play last night? That's actually a great question. That's where these large language models that I showed on one of my first slides with the graph that goes up and to the right actually excel. They've been trained on 2 trillion parameters, meaning they've seen every conversation under the sun. They've been trained on, hey, did you see the Yankees play last night? I can't tell you exactly what it's going to say to a specific question like that, but depending on how we've written what we call our prompts to handle off-script conversations, we've guided our instance of our large language model to acknowledge the off-script or off-kilt question and bring it back to the script. So it might say something like, oh no, and we told it to keep it really generalized, like don't answer with a real question. So it's not going to say like, oh yeah, I saw the Yankees won like 10-2, because like it wouldn't know that. That'd be made up and be weird. But we told it to keep it really general, like, oh no, I didn't catch that, but Yankees are a good team or something like that. Oh, by the way, what was your time frame for getting those new windows? So acknowledge it generally, bring it back to script. That's how we've trained our specific version. Let's see, do you have any use cases of companies this for install warranty calls? No, but if you want to shoot Andrew a text about an AI audit, happy to talk through it. I mean, as long as you're getting leads that have been consented that you want to talk to, it's a good place to talk to us about building a script, because these scripts are pretty easy for us to build, even if we don't have a very specific one for you yet. We do offer custom script building with a script building team too. And I'll end it with this, or maybe one more just came in. Do you mention CRM integrations? How do you do multi-channel BCC solutions? Infrastructure wise, like calling, we can port in numbers if you already have them on different places. Hopefully that's answering your question. But we do have our own phone numbers as well. Again, because we like the whole text call AI technique where you're texting and calling from the same number. So if you're texting from structurally and then you're texting from your CRM phone number or a 5-9 number and they're different, like you can do it. We just would recommend that you not, because you're not going to get as many answers, because it might as well be a totally different company when you're calling or texting from a different number. So we do offer number porting into structurally, but we do have CRM integrations to hopefully make your reps' lives easier. That's one thing I didn't mention with WinChoice. All of this in a nutshell, WinChoice was never logging into structurally. They were managing everything from the text conversations to the appointments to the workflows in HubSpot. And you can see our entire conversations in and call recordings in the CRM in like an activity timeline, as well as a little pop-up window. So the whole goal here is that AI is kind of living behind the scenes so that your reps can use the system that they're already using, ideally your CRM. And now I'll answer it with, yeah, it does work with Salesforce as well. We have an integration with Salesforce. Now I'll answer, how did Andrew and I get into this? 7 years ago, me and Andrew have known each other since 3rd grade. We decided to start a company out of college, and it happened to be text AI qualifying for realtors. we were into real estate. We decided we want to get this thing started in real estate and have kind of evolved from there. So yeah, I hope if you have any more questions, I might wrap it up there since we're at the top of the hour. But yeah, if you want to talk more about compliance, I'm happy to jump on any calls with you guys as well. Like I said, that AI audit, if you text AI to this number, Andrew will follow up in the bottom left here, but I'll be aware of those too and can jump on to answer any more questions. But hopefully everyone had a good time here, a little lunch and learn to learn about AI. It always pumps me up because I feel like it's really exciting with where we're at today. If you, I think we're going to email this link, this recording out, as well as if you just go to the registration link again, you can always watch it on demand. But yeah, if you have any questions, let me know. Again, here's my information if you want to contact me directly. But thanks again, everyone. Thanks to the Qualified Remodeler team for putting this on and having a great platform. I will wrap it up from there.